What up, perps? Kid Copius sitting here in the bunker, Purple State Party representing again. I think we're on week number 9 now. I'm really proud of myself. I want to kick this off with a little bit of light humor. So here's the meme of the week right here, kind of showing how clueless some people are when they talk about numbers. But it also shows and it illustrates in a really easy way the reason why some of these countries that the so-called socialists look up to doesn't work. Look how much bigger we are. Look how many more people we can cram in here. I mean, if you think about it, Italy's like somewhere like the size of California. Germany's just like the size of Wisconsin. We still got 48 other states to go. You know, we got too many moochers. That's part of the problem. We're not set up in a way that makes use of it. And thank God we don't rely on public transportation, at least out here and in most of the country, really. You know, that's one of the things that's a real odd thing right now is that, you know, part of the reason why New York got hammered was because of their reliance on, you know, high density living and public transport. And in parts of California, like where I am, that's what the big push is towards high density living coupled with, you know, reliance on public transport. You know, and speaking of California, this guy, you know, I understand, you know, they overreacted and they shut the whole state down. It should have been done in stages. We should have seen what really needed to be shut down, what we can do. I mean, we're all wearing masks. I'm not the type of person who likes to live in the world of what people are saying on the news. I get little snippets from certain people, both sides, on places like Twitter and Instagram, you know, and I delve into stories when I think there's something there. So I'm not following numbers, but it does seem like, you know, we did it the wrong way. We should have come about it slowly, sort of like how they're doing the startup now, where certain things will open and then other things will open and then other things will open and other things will open. But, you know, it got hot here. People went to the beach and it really insulted our benevolent leader. You know, people like John Adams and George Washington had King George. We out here have King Gavin. And he gets mad and he tries to exercise his power. Oh, I'm mad and I'm going to get you guys. And so he went after Orange County. And as you can see right here, you know, the Orange County Sheriff said, no, not really going to do that all that much because, you know, people are out and about. You know, you go to places like Walmart or grocery stores, places like that, people are out. People are having contact. I'm out there Monday through Friday. I'm out there. I'm in places that are open, doing the work that I do, you know. And, you know, we need to be doing what we need to do as individuals. This is not for the government to tell us what to do. I have older parents. I'm not visiting them, you know. I know people whose employer takes care of their mom who's elderly and they had to close down. See, those are the things that make sense. Like, if there's a real risk, an identifiable risk, you know, that's where we should have gone first. You know, obviously things, you know, like movie theaters, Disneyland, concerts. I mean, because I'm missing a concert in May, Palais Royale. Not exactly thrilled about having to miss that because of this. But I mean, I get it where there's high density people in the face. I get all that. You know, the beach isn't necessarily that place. And I'm guessing, you know, based on my limited scientific knowledge, that viruses don't exactly like salt water and sun. You know, I'm just going out on a guess here that they probably don't thrive in environments like that. You know, I mean, most things don't. You know, they don't survive in the heat and the dry and the salt and all of that. So, you know, closing down the beaches is just like a political type stunt. Going after the conservatives and the OC. Going after the people who dare to defy him. And you see, that's the problem. Like, this dude's supposed to be working for us, man. He's supposed to be managing the business, to some degree the defense of the state. And he's failing on all levels. You know, he puts together a plan to give illegal aliens money, and we've already been over this. And I don't really want to spend too much time in it because I'm getting sick of it. I'm getting sick of talking about this guy, and he's still there. Every day at 12 o'clock, he gets on the TV, and, shakes his iron fist and pretends that he's like our fucking king. And too many people are playing along. It's freaking ridiculous. I mean, you got to look around, man. Look at all the taxes that we pay here. Look at all of the fees and the regulations and the businesses that have left town. Move places like Texas and Tennessee. Thousands of jobs leave. I've shown a statistic before where we're not even having the same population growth that we've traditionally always had. Because we're allowing people to ruin the country. We're just going along with it because it's our team. It's freaking stupid. We're supposed to remain individuals, And speaking of individuals, a big shout out to one of my inspirations, Candace Owens. She's, been kind of vocal. Possibly got herself banned for some comments that she made. But she's an individual. She's a black woman who supports Trump. And that's a trend that myself, I'm super happy about. Because I've always thought that the Democrats simply use minorities and factionalized groups to their advantage. They don't care any more or less than the Republicans do. Yeah, there's traditionally more conservative Republicans than conservative Democrats. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, that could be somewhat of a true statement. I'm sure the numbers are a little bit closer than people would ever imagine. They usually are. But, drink break. Look at that, metal straw. Nah, I don't use it out of any sort of environmental thing. It cools the drinks faster. It's much better for tracheotomies. And in a pinch, you can sharpen it on cement and use it as a knife. But anyhow, back to individuals, and I'm hearing from this guy on the Twitter all the time, Vernon Jones, who, he flat out left the Democrats. He was a member of their party, got elected, black man. And he said, you know what? You guys, you're taking this for granted. Welfare and all those social programs that were instituted primarily by Democrats and liberals, it doesn't seem to be working. It's its own form of racism almost. And the Democrats are just simply, that's why they want open borders. That's why they want open borders. Because they think if they're extremely kind to illegal aliens, then people of that same nationality will vote for them. And in my experience, it doesn't go that way. People who legally immigrated here do not like illegal aliens. They probably are the one group that hates illegal aliens more than any other group out there. Because they're the people who did the steps. What was asked of them, they did it. And they played by the rules. And other people just line jumped. And I've said that before. But that's a little bit of a tangent. I'm personally glad that people are waking up to the fact that the Democrats are just a bunch of rich people, and they are exploiting the minorities at this point. They assume they're going to get their vote. That is arrogance. Is that representing you? Is that looking out for you? Is that trying to protect you? No. It's not. They're taking advantage of you. They're not really delivering. And then they look you straight in the face and say, what are you going to do? Vote for a Republican? That was one of the things that I once heard Candace Owens say, is that she was at an event that Trump had, and Trump said, what have you got to lose? And it was one of those, ding, epiphany moments where you think, hey, wait a minute. What do we have to lose? And the tide changes that way. And that's where people need to start, really looking at what's going on and getting sick of siding with a side that you don't believe in. Just because your Facebook or your Instagram says that you're a liberal or you're a Democrat, yeah, that could be changed. We got to think for ourselves, folks. We got to vote with our heads, not our hearts. Bunch of false promises made by a bunch of hypocrites. Look at that. Like a prime example of what is going on with the Democratic candidate Biden right now. I mean, images of him sniffing people's hair. Allegations that, unlike what they put poor Brett Kavanaugh through for the allegations against him, look at the reverse happening with Biden. This woman's claims have been substantiated to some degree. People have been told about it. In '93, her mom even called the Larry King Show and mentioned it. If this is some sort of elaborate scam, boy, you got to give them credit because to start in '93, that's really putting the work in. But nothing. Pictures of him sniffing hair. I mean, can you imagine this a few decades ago? Like, that's all we'd be hearing about. They would have panel shows with doctors and psychiatrists and neurologists talking about, does he have dementia? What is the kink of hair sniffing? It would be all over the place. This is the kind of story that the press used to just come down on like piranhas. They'd eviscerate the guy. He would drop out. But now they're all owned by people who own this person, who own that person, and nobody's really saying anything. Hollywood's being very quiet for eight women apparently now. I mean, this is like what we saw with Bill Cosby, where at first it was like, what? Come on. And then like the numbers just started mounting. The stories started coming in. And you just go, wow. It takes me all the way back to, when O.J. Simpson was accused of murder. It was just like, what? And then like, slowly but surely, evidence comes pouring in and you're just like, my God, he did it. And but nobody seems to be doing that. And the problem is that would have to come from a left-leaning station for anybody to really pay attention to it. Because if it comes from somebody who's sided with the right, then it's just all, people are just going to say it's propaganda, it's hyperbole, it's all of this stuff. They're not going to give it any credence, because, it's just the right. Man, it's hot out here, man. This jacket, I sweat for this. But anyhow, you have to look at that. You have to look at that double standard. I mean, if that kind of behavior is abhorrent to you, then you got to really think about things. I mean, one of the things that I struggle with when I came over to the Republican side is, there was a lot of small-minded bigotry, and, there's a lot of anti-LGBTQ plus over there. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all, man. I think everybody should be just treated as equals and let each individual piss you off as they may. Don't get too hung up on what people want to do with their lives. It's their lives, man. Just let them lead it, We don't have to argue about all this crap. But what else I've seen? I've also seen the same sort of bigotry and hatred coming from the left with their treatment of Jews and Christians and conservatives just as a whole, and their willingness to attack the Second Amendment at any cost. And now they're attacking the First Amendment, and the first two are supposed to protect us from all the rest. But we're surrendering that nowadays. Or at least, that's sort of how it looks. Because we're going along with these harebrained shutdowns. We need to be managed. We need a managed response to this. And that's not what we got really on any level. And I talked about that last week. Like, Where the hell were all the protocols? You know, we need to know what to do next time because we went too far. The cure is becoming worse than the disease. And we don't really even know. They like to talk a lot about the next wave of corona, the next, you know, what's going to happen when we reopen. They like to speculate on a lot of things, you know. And so one thing I want to speculate on is what's going to happen when this is all over. Are we going to just go back to what we were doing before? Did this open people's eyes to, you know, seemingly like what the government wants from us? Because keep in mind, you know, the president did not really want a shutdown. He wanted to keep going, and he got blasted for that. But at the end of the day, his plan may have cost more lives, but how many lives would it have saved in terms of people losing their jobs, their livelihoods, their businesses, their homes, the things that they're going to live? You know, putting people in a position where they almost wish they had died. You know, how are we going to weigh this at the end? And again, who's going to weigh it? Because if the left weighs it, it's going to be one way. If the right weighs it, it's going to be another way, man. You know? I mean, there are some people in the middle, you know, but they don't have the media outlets that both sides have. And, you know, it's frustrating. But right now, the number one frustration is Gavin Newsom. You know, because he's the face of the Democrats. Give me ultimate power and you'll have utopia. Fool's dream. And number two, of course, is Joe Biden. And I hate it. I want more balance. I just can't believe it's all coming from one side. But, you know, this is just showing you the media is spinning COVID, then they are spinning Biden right now. And if you can't see that, then there's no real hope. If you do see it, think about it for a second. Think about it for a second. You know, do you really want to be with a party that is so hypocritical and it wants ultimate control? Ask yourself, are you going to surrender control? Is that what are you comfortable just surrendering control? Do you think it'll be better when Big Daddy government is running things? Because if you think that, look around. I mean, look around. Look at all of the different ways that the government has let us down. You might want to sit there and blame Trump or blame Gavin or whoever. But you know what? Both sides do it. You know? So the smaller government is the only way to go. We have to have less of these guys above us because they make decisions that benefit themselves. And we got to end that. And the one way to end that is to just fracture one party into nothingness so maybe a middle party has a shot to rise up. And I'm not endorsing any party because if you notice the name, it's Purple State Party. I'm a party unto myself. You should be a party unto yourself. You should think for yourself in all things. Don't be a sheep. Don't just follow the flock. Be kind to yourselves. I really appreciate anybody who's watching out there right now. I mean, this is something I really care about. I hope that comes through. And until next time, peace.